Episode 71. This is like our saddest episode ever, or maybe happy. It would have been like a very angry episode if we did it last night, and I'm glad we didn't do it. Or a sad and angry episode.
Yeah,
Do
there
you
were
s-
raw emotions last night that I was ready to text you, or I did text you, and I said I can't do it. And then I saw your tweet in which you absolved Dan Wilson of all blame, and then in fact went the other way and said he's the reason we got here, which you
Yeah,
backtracked on. And
but no one
I
saw the backtrack. No
I
one saw the
I
backtrack.
replied to your tweet and said this is why we can't pod tonight, and then random people liked my I like have 0 followers on the new X because I
Yeah,
canceled my old Twitter and all
yeah.
this stuff. And
I
yeah,
realized this is what
people
it
like that
takes to
one.
get this is what it takes to get the attention of really famous people. Well, not really famous, but Seattle famous. Like Spencer Hawes replied to me, said I was an
Yeah.
idiot. Jason Churchill quote tweeted me, said I was an idiot. I literally just got a message from another friend that said, for what it's worth, I don't think this was worth 194 replies. But
Oh my God, Kev, I didn't know.
800
194.
but we're almost up to 1,000 likes. So I was telling Christine, I was like, do you think if more people like it than reply, like, she says that doesn't matter. It matters who thinks you're right. And I was like, right. Yeah, I guess that's right. But I don't take any personal. People are it's just a visceral thing, right? And that's my coping mechanism. I try to
Totally. And this is
try
why
to
we
think a
couldn't
little
pod
more
last night.
positive, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's totally
Yeah.
fair, Kev. My coping mechanism was different. So let me tell you what I did. I got on the internet last night and I went into my email where the Seattle Mariners had said I have until October 28th to renew my 2026 Flex Plan rookie membership for $1,000 because as I've said on this podcast, and you know, the reason I went to playoff games is I got the 2025 Flex Plan. It was a great purchase. They automatically renew you in the 2026 plan unless you opt out. There's a form to opt out. I went immediately to opt out last night after this game. And then, and there's a place where you say, what's your reason for opting out? And I typed in the box because Dan Wilson brought in Bizardo in the 7th inning of game 7 against the Blue Jays. Submit. Now, the follow-up, sorry, I didn't actually submit because I did submit it to them, but the follow-up question I had to do first, which was, how likely are you to buy Mariners tickets in the future? And I wrote extremely likely. So those were back to back in the survey. But that's where my mood was last night. I texted multiple group texts, friends, and I said, I can never forgive Dan Wilson for this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's where I am.
Fair. And this is what kind of kills me though. Like, I guess what I posted, I said criticism is fair, right? Like that was kind of, and maybe that's contradictory.
Everybody ignored that part.
Everybody totally ignored that clause of the sentence is like, you're an idiot. And I think it was just like, and I didn't even name the dude. Like it was pretty, yeah, I dug myself in a hole when I said he willed the Mariners in there. I couldn't divorce it.
Yeah, but Kev, also, I think you explained it really well. Not that those people are going to listen to our podcast, but your coping mechanism was optimism, and you have kind of always been that way, and that's what's wonderful about you. I'm being honest.
Why we balance each other out so well on this podcast.
And I'm actually have gotten much more positive over the years. But I felt like I was grieving today. I don't know if that's I mean, you and I have had real grief.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's not that level, but in terms of sports, it felt like I was grieving. Like I was really bummed today.
It's just different. And this is coming from a Husky fan who was at the national championship and they lost. And I think if they had lost the game before that against Texas, it would have felt like close to this for me. But that game against Michigan, like you kind of knew, right? After a couple of drives that things weren't going to go their way and that they lost it wasn't like this. This was like, it was there within your hands. And the only parallel, and we'll talk about this later, but the
sneak preview, you got to wait till the end of the podcast.
The only parallel is something that we went through already. And it was, but that's even more different. Because
no, we're not going to talk about it yet. We're not going to talk about it yet.
All right.
So Kevin is alluding to the Super Bowl loss by the Seahawks in 2014. You have to stay to the end of the episode, or I guess you could skip ahead, but why would you do that? And our top 5 today is going to be the 5 worst losses in Seattle sports history. And I have a list that we could choose from, and Kev, you may have some to add on, including the one you just referenced. Mike Salk of Seattle Sports 710, who probably has experiences like you, Kev, where he gets 194 replies, so people don't like him very much. I feel like that happens a lot with him, even though I enjoy him. His poll was, why aren't the Mariners in the World Series? And the options were not enough talent, 14%. Toronto just that good, which is what I voted for, actually, 26%. Pitching didn't show up, 26%. In-game decisions. So I think from a literal standpoint of what happened in Game 7, of course, I would vote in-game decisions because that's where I'm feeling raw and visceral. But when I look at the course of the series, I said to multiple people, and people who listen to this podcast will attest to this, Toronto's better than Seattle. Like that lineup.
Interesting.
Oh, that lineup, Kev. I mean, I can hang with an argument where someone says their pitching's not as good. It was in the series. It was better. That lineup doesn't strike out. All 9 guys. I mean, Jimenez was batting 9 and he was a killer against us, right? Like their lineup was so good. And we're rolling out. Love him. Leo Rivas is a AAA second baseman in big moments, right? We're just, as much as things went well, we finished in the final 4 teams in Major League Baseball. I mean, there's so much to be like, what a great year, which we'll talk about in a second. But
I voted for the pitching, honestly, because I just kept on thinking, like, how is Logan Gilbert going 3 to 4 innings? How is George Kirby racking up 30 pitches in the first inning? How is Luis Castillo not even making it to the 5th inning? And then you're putting this inordinate amount of pressure on your bullpen. Like, your best pitcher in the series was Bryce Miller on short rest.
He was. 2 things. One, and we'll have plenty of chance to talk about this when we get into off-season stuff, and I think we'll do more off-season as the weeks come along here and the winter meetings come and all that. We don't have an ace. Like I think I've said this on the podcast. We have a lot of number 2, number 3 guys. Logan was good last year. He's not in the category, to me, of even Kevin Gausman. He's certainly not in the Scuba Crochet, category of Max Fried, of these guys that people have. Maybe Wu was, but look at Wu was hurt.
Yeah, look at what Max Scherzer did.
Totally, right? And that's where it sucked in the series.
Yeah, we don't have a Randy Johnson.
But I think you could put that more on our hitters than you can on our pitching failed. Like, we should have lit Chris Bassett up when he came in relief, who is a starter. We should have lit up Max Scherzer. Everyone else lit him up, right? And you can go one way and say, oh, cool story, Max Scherzer, you're a psychopath, and look at you, 41 years old. Or you can say the Mariners missed an opportunity to hit a guy who's been bad against everybody else.
Yeah, it was just hard for me because I think the Mariners hitters that have always been good showed up in the series, right? Like Cal and Julio almost won them the game again.
Yeah, Josh Naylor was really good.
Yeah.
Suarez had a moment.
Yeah, and then it was just everyone else. And that was kind of...
But that's in stark contrast to the Blue Jays, who had everybody hitting, right?
Exactly.
So like the Blue Jays are just really, really good. And it didn't show up as much in the Tiger series. Tigers had a bunch of guys who couldn't hit. Kerry Carpenter was amazing. We talked about it. But all these other dudes didn't show up. Yeah. And if you look at other series, a bunch of guys didn't show up. But the Blue Jays are probably the best matchup for the Dodgers. Like, they really are.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that moment was not disappointing. And so I want to talk about the moment for a second. So Bizzardo comes in with 2nd and 3rd. There's multiple layers to this. A lot of people talk about walking Springer. I'm okay pitching to Springer in some ways and trying to get even a sac fly, keep the lead. I'm not okay with bringing in Bizzardo. And I said it. I promise you I said it out loud when it happened. And I actually like Bizzardo, and I'm not blaming him. And I certainly don't want anybody to go off on Bizzardo. It's not his fault. I think his response afterwards was interesting. He's like, I threw that slider yesterday. It was fine. To that point, he pitched 2 innings the day before. Yep. He had seen these guys. The announcer said it. Like, you got to go with your best in that moment. You have to bring in Munoz at the top of the lineup. Or worst case scenario, you keep wooing. Woo's your guy. Like, he gave up a hit that could have been a double play if it's hit 1 foot to the left. It's a ground ball. Obviously, had a walk. I don't know.
People say we don't know ball sometimes, but Joe Madden was asked the same question. He said the exact same answer as you did. You keep Wu in, or you put in Munoz, and either way, even if the result is the same, at least you go down knowing that you 100%. Had your best pitchers out there pitching to their best hitter in that moment.
And the crazy thing is, I think the Seattle sports community is actually 99% aligned on this one.
Yeah.
Usually, even if they'll quibble about Dan Wilson's strength over the course of a season, nobody wanted Bizzardo in that moment, right?
Yeah.
Secondly, it's not an analogy. The comparison is the Super Bowl. Like, you don't throw to Ricardo Lockett on the goal line. You run to Marshawn Lynch, and if it doesn't work, you feel good about it, right?
Yeah.
Now, it's Wilson's first playoff series. Maybe it turns into this great thing where he has this experience and he does things different. I'm totally open to that. It doesn't mean I have to forgive him as a fan for that moment. I just don't.
I wasn't telling people how to, God, it's always, but literally reading the replies, I was reading people process like how they were thinking about this game. And, it's like you're learning. I wasn't trying to tell people how to fan, but some people were saying like, okay, Dan Wilson was learning on the job and it will completely be an unforgivable mistake, right? And it's kind of interesting. I saw another post. Someone said that like Pete Carroll and Dan Wilson are beloved Seattle sports figures, but those decisions will forever be like the worst decisions ever, right? And that's those two things can be true at the same time.
Totally agree.
Right?
Totally agree.
Like it's that thing. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, right? That's the analogy.
I can even think Dan Wilson should be the manager still. I don't have to go to the extreme and say he shouldn't be the manager anymore, or even that they shouldn't have hired him, even though we question that a little bit, right? And that was because of his inexperience. It doesn't mean this is right. It just means in that moment, he made in the sports world of my life, unforgivable, right? It's not like I'm not going to, although last night I was like, I'm going to boo Dan Wilson next year. I'm not going to boo Dan Wilson.
Yeah.
But I'm never like, Pete Carroll. Like, I have great memories of Pete Carroll brought a Super Bowl, but he's always going to be forever linked to that decision, which again, we'll talk about later, which one's worse.
Bring it to Kalen DeBoer, brought the greatest Husky football season of all time and then left 2 days later. Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I have friends who don't like George Karl, right? Going back to the Sonics days. George Karl to me is positive memories, but they just look at his shortcomings of never bringing the championship home, especially in the 94 and 95 seasons when Jordan retired / had a gambling suspension, depending on who you believe. Okay, so Kev, is the season a success?
Yes, absolutely.
How come? Is it just obvious because they went further than they've ever gone in the history of their franchise?
I think it's that. I think it's that they won a division title. And it's a little different because it doesn't seem like this team is going to fall. So there's the backward looking, right? Like all the accomplishments, right? Like made it as far as to Game 7, right? We're 8 outs away from the World Series, won the division, and then finally got the Astros monkey off their back. There's also this look forward aspect, which we'll get to this, but it doesn't seem like it all falls apart, right? Maybe I'm being naive. Maybe this is, it's all downhill from here, right? No. Just like the Seahawks. And
no, there's no way. They're not built for it. People have talked, Jeff Passan talked about it on the radio today. When you have that many good prospects, and we know prospects don't always play out, but the core is there. It's not like Cal's a free agent anytime soon. Julio's not a free agent anytime soon. Clearly, they need to re-sign Joshua Naylor, right? But there's other decisions that are interesting. They have Ryan Sloan and Cade Anderson as young pitchers in the minors. They have Colt Emerson, who I'm telling you right now is awesome.
They have Harry Ford.
Yeah, they have Felnine Celestines hitting bombs in winter ball. Like, they just have dudes. They won't all play out, but we have this perception that they don't have any money to spend. That's not true. They're still middle of the pack payroll. They're going to have Haniger money coming off the books. They have to decide what to do. There's all these things. They're set up for success. Will they make the playoffs next year? Who knows? It's baseball.
Can you believe they have the third best odds to win the AL West?
I know. That pissed me off, actually. That brought my anger back. So I'm like, I get sort of theoretically why they would. I actually don't get why the Rangers would be above them. That's BS.
Yeah, but I think it's the idea that the Rangers might make more moves in the offseason. They've had more success in the past 10 years. I also think there's this element of the Mariners had to win like 20 out of the last however many games to win the division.
Also, if you look at the expected stats, the Rangers had this great run differential and their expected win-loss was way higher than the Astros and the Mariners. So they just had like bad luck. So I could see, it still pissed me off. This team almost went to the World Series and we're going to give them the third best odds to win the AL West. Also, I mean, maybe jump on that now, honestly. But you'd have to have trust in Dipoto and Hollander that they can have a good
See, I've already turned you around, man. You canceled your flex plan and you're already thinking of betting on the Mariners.
I mean, part of the reason I canceled my flex plan, besides what I wrote, is I'm just do it next year. Buy it at the end of the year again. Why am I buying at the beginning of the year? Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. Have we adequately wrapped up the Mariners? Do you think? Do we need more trauma relief here?
No,
what do we need to do?
I just want to do one question for you, and it's, besides re-signing Josh Naylor, what's the one move you want or you think the Mariners need to make?
This is a hard question. Do you remember? I feel like I say this, but then I'm like, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I don't say it. Do you remember what I've been harping on since the start of the 2025 season that the Mariners needed to do, in my opinion?
Get another pitcher.
It is, but specifically, I talked about the bullpen. And it showed up in the playoffs. Like, I really wanted Duran from Minnesota. I don't care what prospects. Imagine how different Game 7 goes if you're turning to a guy who throws 102 instead of Bizardo.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but, instead of Bizardo, right?
Yeah.
And you can save Munoz. Would it have cost Colt Emerson or something? And maybe I wouldn't want to do it because I have a man crush on him. I think it's a bullpen arm, but that was more like mid-season playoff run. Now, I mean, Naylor's so clearly number one.
Yeah.
What's yours? I don't know.
I don't think they're going to bring back Suarez because he's going to be old and he's going to cost more than they'll want to pay.
He strikes out a lot, man, too. Like, I loved the idea of him coming back. Obviously, the Grand Slam is a top moment in Mariner history.
Yeah.
But my God, he strikes out a lot.
Yeah. And Williamson's not bad, right? And they have guys coming up.
No power.
Yeah, it's tough for me. I think it's probably third base. I want another guy like Polanco, just a guy that puts the ball in play, can get hot, right? Is consistent, stays healthy. I don't know who that is. I want someone at the bottom of the order that's decent.
That is totally fair.
Right? Whether that means replacing Robles in right field.
Yeah. I mean, the categories are, third base,
right field,
depending on what happens with Polanco, because he's got an option that I'm sure he'll opt out of, become a free agent. So then there becomes a whole.
Isn't a Rosarena free agent?
No. He's got another year. Good or bad. I don't know.
Trade, yeah, he's going to be on the trade block for sure.
Part of me is like, go get a starter. Like we talked about, get better at your pitching. They weren't as good as we wanted. I saw somebody throw out there, if Tarek Skubal's really on the block and you got all these prospects, go get Tarek Skubal. I mean, if you want to turn me,
a little like Eric Bedard.
No. Tarek Skubal is so good.
Yeah.
Eric Bedard is really good for the Mariners, but I don't know. I'm not ready to process what to do next other than re-sign Josh Naylor.
Yeah, me too.
I need more time to think. I don't even know who's a free agent. I saw somebody, Alex Bregman. I'm like, I don't know if I even want to root for Alex Bregman. I guess maybe for a World Series I would do it. I don't know. I'm not ready. I can't. I'm still grieving, Kevin. When you're in grief mode, you can't look to your,
you can't look forward. You
can't,
you're kind
when you get divorced,
neutral.
Kev, which you and I will never do, you can't just immediately get a new girlfriend.
No, not at all.
No, I mean, somebody on this listening to this podcast is like, hey, you can put that on the TikTok, baby. All right. Hey, Baldy, you don't know anything about dating. Okay. See, we can still have fun. I'm gonna try and make this. This is what I titled this. There's a lot of Seattle sports actually happening right now besides the Mariners. The great thing about the Mariners was I was all in, and so some of the other sports kind of fell to the wayside. But also, this is an amazing time in sports, and I'm just gonna list off what's happening in Seattle, and then we're gonna kind of rapid fire through some things. Okay. So the Kraken have started their season. Husky men's and women's basketball starts on November 3rd. The Sounders have made the playoffs. The Reign have clinched a playoff berth after a terrible season the year before. The Seahawks are 5-2. The Huskies are 5-2. What am I missing? The NBA started tonight, which I know is not Seattle related, but matters in my household. Be care. All these things are happening as the Mariners finish up, and it's very cool to have sports in the fall because there's so much to talk about. So we're going to try and go fast if we can, which we're terrible at, but we'll see. So I'm titling this rapid fire roundtable with only 2 people eating at the round table. It's not like a real round table. It's just you and I. Get it?
Yeah.
Okay. Is Damon Williams overrated? Washington Husky football. Go.
No, he's not. I think the
3 interceptions against Michigan.
Yeah, I think the offensive line is backed up, and you're on the road against Michigan. Like, that's a hard game. I lay that loss completely at the hands of the coaching staff.
Like, okay, related.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm mostly with you. I think Damon Williams is awesome. Although I might backtrack on he's the one player I want to watch in Seattle sports after last weekend. Okay, related. Do you now see more than 4 losses on the schedule?
Yes. Oh. I'm like very nervous. Well, more than 4 losses or 4 losses?
I think you told me, you said 4. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they beat Illinois. I think UCLA on the road is hard.
Illinois would be a big win this weekend.
Yeah, I didn't look at the line. I haven't looked at the line yet, but I can't imagine it being double digits. It's got to be under a touchdown.
3.5 because it's in Washington too.
Huskies by 3.5 or Illinois?
No. Illinois. I'm pretty sure.
By 3.5.
I'm gonna double check it right now while you're on.
Yeah. So
4.5. No, sorry. Huskies are favored by 4.5.
Makes sense. I mean, it's a home game. Yeah.
No respect for Illinois.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they lose against. I think they lose against UCLA the way that team's playing.
Wait a second. Can we go back to this Huskies in Illinois? That means, by traditional standards in gambling circles, you get 3 points at home. Although they say now it's kind of like 2.5 in the NFL.
Yeah.
Maybe in college it's more than 3 because of the environments and the travel.
Also, it's Husky Stadium. Like, if you look at the record, right?
That's true.
You get more than 3 points at Husky Stadium. So.
But I was going to say, if it's 3, that means the Huskies would be favored at Illinois. That seems crazy to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's an interesting one. Okay, so you see 4 losses, but not more than 4
I see
losses.
Oregon and UCLA as losses. I think you can maybe swap
UCLA,
the UCLA.
Man.
Yeah, it's UCLA on the road.
Dude, they're crazy. This is insane. I saw somebody tweet out that UCLA controls their own destiny for the college football playoff, and that's...
Here's the most wild thing. They flipped 2 recruits today, and they don't even have a head coach yet.
But they have a new Heisel, and everyone loves a new Heisel.
They took CJ Lavender from the Huskies.
Yep. Oh, they're playing Indiana this week. That'll be interesting.
Yeah.
They played Nebraska. I mean, it's true. They do control their own destiny because they play Indiana and Ohio State 2 of the next 3 weeks. So, sure, they do. Okay. Is Jed Fish, as NSYNC would say, bye?
No, I don't think he is. He's
not going to Florida?
No. What's his track record? Right?
What do you mean?
With the Huskies? What did he do with the Huskies? He hasn't done anything yet.
You think Florida can hire someone better than Jed Fish?
I saw Deion Sanders' name there. I saw.
Is Deion Sanders better than Jed Fish? Yeah, stumped you on that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah. What do you think about the fact that there's a press conference where they asked him about it and he totally avoided the question?
I mean, what's he supposed to say?
I'm staying at Washington, even if you're lying because you want recruits to come.
Yeah.
And then the next day, a guy flips to UCLA who doesn't have a coach.
It's a lose-lose question, right? Like, I guess the win, I think you're answering. I think what you said is right? But then he's lying.
I don't know. He's lying till later. He might not have been lying in the moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
At the moment, he might be like, yeah, my plan's to be in Washington.
Yeah.
He could have said a lot of different versions other than I'm not going to talk about that. I'm getting ready for whatever, Illinois.
Yeah. I think there's the two paths, right? Like, you laid them out perfectly. I don't know.
He could have said, it's not fair to my players to talk about other jobs. I love it in Washington.
Yeah.
You're still not saying anything, but it sounds better. You could have said, all my focus is here at Washington. I love it here. I love the faith the community's put in me. Dog fans are awesome. You're still not saying you're not going to Florida, but you're hyping up Washington. Instead, his answer was, oh, I'm not going to address that. My focus is on this week.
I think now that you say that, I think some of it's got to be like, first of all, I was thinking like someone had to tell him like, this is how you answer that question. And someone else told him, here's how you answer that question. And his agent's telling him, answer that question a certain way. That could give you leverage to get more money from
his agent's telling him Florida might be interested.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Say less and the Huskies will come with a raise, right?
I mean, I think that the fear for me, there's two things, and we'll move on because this isn't really rapid fire, which I knew would happen. I fear Damon Williams leaving with him if he leaves, wherever he goes, if he goes. And I fear starting over again. I just don't like it, and maybe that's what college football is now. So,
well, it just kind of sucks because you think that Washington is a destination job, but it might not be. I mean,
we ended up with Jed Fish, so maybe it's not.
Could you list like 20 because our coach left for Alabama, but like, could you list 20 programs above the Huskies? Maybe. Where there's more desirable jobs. Like the Florida thing's a unique thing, right? Because you went there, but that's it.
And we'd have to know, we'd have to know more about stuff we don't know. Like what's the booster situation? It seems like Washington's pretty good. You know, I mean, Damon's here. They're getting recruits. So overall, they're doing fine in the Big Ten in terms of that. I don't know. Yeah, that's a great question, Kev. We should talk about that at a different time. What the top college jobs are. Okay, Seahawks, rapid fire. Let me ask you first. Did you see any of this game?
So I had to take like a 10-minute, like how do I just go from like this emotional loss to just watching a Seahawks Monday Night Football game? Like I was watching, but I wasn't watching. Does that make sense? It's
totally
like
makes sense.
After you lose a state tournament game and your bus can't leave yet, and you're just watching like a semifinal game that you think you should be in, but you're just watching it, but not watching it. Does that make sense?
Well, that was a terrible flashback from my life.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Just sitting in uncomfortable Tacoma Dome seats, thinking, should I get the nachos that are not good? Yeah, when is the bus coming? I hate this. I have to scout this game for a loser's bracket game the next day. I mean, that might be the worst.
Maybe that's a little extreme. Yeah. That's how it felt like having to watch these Seahawks after, like as good as they are. Like I just don't.
So care. I switched immediately. I could not watch the Mariners anymore. Dana wanted to see the emotion stuff. She loves the human interest. She wanted to see Cal cry. I'm like, I can't. I'm done. So I switched immediately, and Cooper Kupp threw a trick play interception right when I turned the channel. And I was like, what is happening? The question is, I'm going to ask myself this question.
Yeah.
Was this the worst win ever of all time for a football team? The Seahawks had 4 turnovers.
A safety, dude. They had a safety.
No. It wasn't as well. The Seahawks almost got a safety. They didn't call a safety. The Seahawks, it should have been a safety, but Darnold fumbled and it was a touchdown. The Seahawks had 4 turnovers to Houston's 1. They had 12 penalties. It was a disgusting game. It was gross. And they won 27-19.
And the guys in the booth were saying they're a Super Bowl contender. So,
well, that's the second question. I don't really think it's the worst win ever because the Seahawks beat the Bears 3-0 last year, or whatever it was, 6-3.
Yeah,
that was worse. I'll come back to my second question, but are they a Super Bowl contender?
I mean, if Dan Orlovsky, what's his name? Or
I don't know. Now you got me rattled. I can't say his name.
Orlovsky?
The guy who played for the Colts.
Yeah. He says that they're in the Super Bowl, or they're a Super Bowl contender. Dude, I don't know. It's week 7. Like, that's a hard question.
Well, that's the point of having a podcast, Kevin, is that you debate things like this. If every time I asked you a question that was provocative in any sense, and you said, I don't know, no one would put us on the TikTok, buddy.
Yeah, it's hard for me because the Texans were so bad last night to just have an insight that they're a Super Bowl contender.
All right, let me give you some information and then you can tell me. How about that?
There you go.
Does that work? Yeah. Okay, they're 5-2.
Yes.
They're tied for their... It's not the best record in the NFC because the Lions have a weird record, or somebody has a tie. There's a bunch of teams at 5-2. The Bucks, the Rams, the Niners, I think the Lions are 5-2, and the Packers are 4-1-1. They're right in the mix with everybody else, right? Yeah. They're 2 losses. They lost to the Niners in week 1. I went to the game. We documented it here. They could have won that game. Okay. For various reasons. Brock Purdy throws a touchdown that goes through Reek Woolen's hands to take the lead. They didn't go for it on 4th down. Very winnable. They lose to the Bucks, who to me are the best team in the NFC right now, by 3 points in a shootout. They've won all their other games, including beating teams like the Steelers, who seem to be good. They've been doing it without Witherspoon and Love in the back end, who are 2 of their best, maybe they're 2 best defenders, 2 of the 3 best defenders. By DVOA standards, which is a ranking system that takes all these advanced metrics, they're the number 1 team in football above everybody else.
Crazy.
PFF, who is getting a lot of heat right now for how bad their grades are, they have the Seahawks number 2 overall in football behind the Rams. They are tied for 3rd in the NFL in sacks. They're 2nd in rush yards allowed defensively. They have a quarterback who is doing well, and then they have maybe the best receiver in football, which I'm going to ask you in a second.
Yeah.
And they're doing it with injuries.
It's kind of nuts that
are they a Super Bowl contender?
Yeah. I can't wrap my head around why they're only favored by 2.5 against the Commanders this weekend, who are 3-4.
They have a bye. I think the Seahawks are underdogs after the weekend, actually.
Really?
Yes, I saw this somewhere. I'm going to look it up right now while we're talking.
So that's who they play. They play the Commanders then.
They have a bye, then they play the Commanders. So you have to find like a look-ahead line, which is hard to find on like ESPN. Yeah. But Hawk Blogger tweeted out tonight that they're underdogs to the Commanders on the road.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Sorry, that was a complete sidetrack and doesn't answer your question. Yeah, they're definitely Super Bowl contenders.
There you go.
Read out those numbers.
There you go.
Right?
Yes, Kevin.
Okay.
There you go.
You're on board with that then?
Kevin, I've been on board since day 1. I told you this. I bet over 8.5 wins. It's looking great at 5-2. I told you they have a chance to win the division. I've been on this. When you were on the Huskies, I was on the Seahawks. I believe in Mike McDonald. I think he's freaking awesome. It's bringing all my hope back.
Yeah, JSN is really playing.
Well, that's the question. Is he the best receiver in football? Here's the case. He's number 1 in the NFL in yards. Do you know how many yards receiving he has in 7 games? 19. That is absolutely absurd.
He's almost at 1,000.
He's averaging 117 yards per game. That's number 1 in the NFL. And he's 50 catches, which is tied for 5th in the NFL.
Yeah.
His stat lines, if you go look his game log, it doesn't matter. All these Texans fans are like, Derek Stingley, he's this corner, he shuts people down. My man went off for like 150, no problem. JSN has all the catches, all the routes. I don't know if he's really the best receiver in football, but my God, he's good.
Here's the best part. Like, Sam Darnold has like a number 1 dude, right?
Like, he throws it with so much trust. He's like, he'll get it. I'm going to throw it to a spot. He'll get there because he's such a good route runner. Yeah. I mean, it's really fun. It's really, really fun to see him. They definitely need some other dudes to make some catches.
God, his game log is ridiculous. Like his worst game was a 4 reception game for 79 yards. That's his worst game.
Read his just for everybody. Read his last 3 games. Last three,
going backwards, starting with this win against the Texans, 27-19. 8 receptions, 123 yards, and a touchdown. Against Jacksonville, 8 receptions, 162 yards, and a touchdown. 3-point loss to the Bucks. 8 reception, 132 yards, and a touchdown.
Stupid. It's absolutely silly. Silly. So good. He's awesome. Go watch Seahawks football, but you can't this weekend because they're on a bye. Okay, this will be more rapid fire because you have nothing you can say about any of these things. I didn't even put this one on there. How do you feel about the Kraken, Kev?
Shout out to them for wearing Mariners jerseys. Also, did you see that weird Blue Jays tweet where they... Yeah.
Shane Wright, yeah. Shane Wright, I think, is Canadian, obviously, and they were like, come home and wear a Blue Jays jersey or whatever. Yeah. Whatever. Kraken lost tonight, but actually they've lost 2 in a row, sadly. But they started the year really well. Like they were in first place for a little bit. They're in the mix. That's all I want. They're in the mix. I'll talk at a different podcast about what they're doing differently. That could be good.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it now.
What's going on with their soccer teams?
The Sounders are in the playoffs. Sounders are playing Minnesota FC 4-5 matchup. It's a best of 3 because why wouldn't it be? And then everything else is not a best of 3. What the hell is wrong with the MLS? They just like, yeah, we'll do a best of 3. And then it's not a best of 3. So it's a best of 3. What are the chances against Minnesota? You don't know anything about this. What do you think? What do you think, Kev? You give the Sounders a shot?
I mean, it's yes.
Why? Give me a reason why. Just give me something.
God, I'm looking at your notes. Am I cheating?
No, it's fine.
Sounders have won 7 and tied in 1 in their last 8 matches. They're red hot.
Minnesota won the last 2. Before that, the Sounders won 7 and tied 1. So Minnesota's got the last 2, but the Sounders were really dominated them for a while after that. But expected goal differential, Sounders have plus 14.8, Minnesota's plus 1.1. So if you're using an advanced metric and you're saying goals you're scoring versus goals you're not, the Sounders are a better team.
God, we're talking about say that again.
Expected goals.
Expected goal differential on the Wait for It Seattle podcast, episode 71.
Yeah.
Man,
the Walter Jones episode. I think the Sounders... Yeah, soccer's hard. So, yeah. They have a great chance. They have a great chance. Series. It's a 3 match, so it's even better, and
it's not aggregate. So it's like literally who wins, Matt, who wins.
Like a baseball series. Like
okay, I'm just
3.
making sure because
it's silly.
Sometimes it gets
No, they used to. You're right. They used to do aggregate and away goals mattered and all this stuff. And then the MLS was like, that's not American enough. We got to make it like baseball. That's how they said it when they were in their meeting.
Could you imagine if they did aggregate for baseball?
It'd be cool.
Yeah, you definitely would need bullpen arms.
Yeah, I don't know. Let me ask you a follow-up question on the Sounders. So you may not know this context. Pedro de la Vega, who I've talked about on this podcast before, is one of our best attacking offensive players. The Sounders played in New York in a game that did not matter for them. Didn't matter what happened. They were going to be the 5 seed.
Yeah.
De La Vega broke his leg. He's out 6 months. So it's going to affect next year. And he's not in the playoff run. Is it ever a good idea to play your starters in a game that doesn't matter?
Or when the game doesn't matter.
Did Schmetzer blow this? You look at you. You're like, I can't blasphemize Brian Schmetzer. He's the best coach in Seattle history.
Yeah, I mean, I think there is an element of keeping your dudes sharp, don't you?
I never blame somebody for getting hurt. I just think it happens randomly. But I guess I'm open to the concept that a guy who's hurt all the time maybe shouldn't be playing on a baseball field in New York in a game that doesn't matter. So I think it was probably a bad decision, but I'm not going full Dan Wilson mode on this one.
Schmetzer gets the scale. Like Dan Wilson mistake.
Pete Carroll's really the scale, probably.
Yeah.
Or Daryl Bubble, whoever you want to blame. Real quick, rapid fire. Your Seattle Reign have made the playoffs. They're fighting for as high as the 3 seed, but they don't play till November 2nd. They have a weird international break. So they have this like week off and then they play the final game. It's actually a huge game for seeding because in the NWSL, the Kansas City Current are like the Dodgers. Like they're so much better than everybody else. So obviously if you're the 2 or the 3 seed, you avoid playing them until the final, right?
Yeah.
You want to be on the other side of the bracket. So not to mention home games, which for me as a season ticket holder, would be nice to go to a playoff home game. So Seattle has to play Orlando on November 2nd. They want to win that game. We'll have time to talk about that later if we want. But the big thing this weekend is Lou Barnes, who we had ranked in our top 100, had her last home game. She's retiring as a Reign player.
Good. That's good tears. Happy tears.
Happy tears.
Unlike other types of tears.
Right.
Well, that's great.
Shout out to Lou Barnes.
Yeah. Did you watch any of the exhibition for the UW Husky basketball team, men's basketball team?
Look how quickly you transitioned away from soccer. You were like, I have nothing to add on soccer or hockey.
You know what?
So
I think it's better to make you the expert in this stuff. And, why fake it? Why, I'll do my best to watch, but I have other strengths.
I think
like Husky basketball.
You are a season ticket holder to an NWSL team, so it feels like you should have a little bit more expertise.
Yeah.
I think you have to agree to watch a Reign playoff game.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool. I will agree.
All right. Husky basketball, the exhibition. I did not watch. I watched highlights. And who do you think I was most excited about?
JJ Mandaquit.
Oh, my God. I've been telling everybody on this podcast since summer that he's the real deal.
How do you not start him?
He's starting.
How do you not start him and Steinbach, like 2 freshmen?
Steinbach is more of a sure thing to start.
Dude.
Because when Zoom's healthy and Claude is healthy, there's a case to be made, even though I would not do it.
Yeah.
That JJ doesn't start. Right? But this man had 12 assists.
Let me be clear. The Husky men's basketball team at one point in the past 10 years had 2 lottery picks. Those guys did not have the same hype that Steinbach is getting preseason, right? Like coming off of FIBA, he totally looks like the dude, right? In this, I get it. It's an exhibition game and he's going to face bigger dudes in the Big Ten. I get it. Still, he put up numbers. He looks like he knows how to play. Like he's done nothing to make me doubt that he's going to be a star as a freshman.
Yeah, I don't like you talking so much about Steinbach. I want to talk about my guy JJ. I mean, he's a true point guard. It is beautiful to watch. I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm looking at the schedule real quick. So November 3rd, they play Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm assuming everybody will have an okay game. Denver's kind of interesting, but I don't think they're very good. That's their next game. But then they go to Baylor on the road on November 9th, a Sunday. And that's the game we want to make sure we're all paying attention to see how these guys play.
That's kind of like the, God. Yeah. I mean, it sucks that the football team had to play Ohio State, but like we really didn't know how good the Huskies football team was until they played Ohio State. Like it's the same thing. Like we're going to find out like how good is Mandaquit? How good is Mandaquit with Steinbach? Like how about all these other dudes on the team? It's kind of nuts. I'm not worried about those 2 dudes, the 2 freshmen. I'm more worried about like the guys that have transferred in, the guys that are coming, the 2 dudes that are coming back. Like, what do they look like? How do they mesh with everyone?
It's going to be fascinating to see who gets playing time and who doesn't on this team. And to that point, the Huskies decided today out of nowhere to just sign Nikola Despina from Serbia.
Yeah.
Who, if you didn't see the news, I think he's 6'8", and he's in the World Cup, same one that Steinbach was awesome and JJ played in. Despina was 13th in the tournament at 16.4 points per game, shooting 52% from the floor with 5.4 rebounds. He's a European big man, and he will be immediately eligible on December 13th. This is out of nowhere.
Yeah, I think...
Do you have a source on this?
No, I don't have a source. But let me just bring you back to the guy that came from France last year, and then he never ended up playing.
Right.
And then
he now started at BYU in their exhibition game. Yeah.
Was he good? I didn't even
see
He was
okay. Yeah. He was okay. Yeah. But
so,
BYU is like a top 20 team in the country.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get too excited. I mean, it's always exciting to get a new player, but like I'm not like, oh my god, this is gonna like change the trajectory of the men's basketball team.
Well, I
Clip
think
it.
you
I
should
may
be
be
more
wrong.
excited. I think you
Yeah.
should be more excited. I think you have great perspective of the guy from France who never ended up playing for us. But they lost the guy from Lipscomb who's out for a few months.
Ognacevic
Yep.
and
And then they lost Traore is out. And so I think they needed this more than anything else because we know Frank Kepnong's going to get hurt at some point. Yeah. I love that guy. I love him, but he gets hurt like he just does. There's a reason he's playing his 9th year of college basketball, whatever it is. It's not.
But that was a joke. It was a joke.
That was a joke. You know, I think it's his 6th year though.
Yeah.
Because he got a couple of medical red shirts, and he's awesome when he's healthy, but he's hurt a lot. He was hurt last year. He was hurt the year before. So they need bigs, and this is good. He averaged 16 points per game in the same tournament. Steinbach was awesome, and we all got excited about. So I'm not going to dismiss it completely.
Yeah.
It's weird. I saw people tweeting about this and said they have 15 players on the roster. You're not allowed to have more than 15. So something's going to happen that we don't know yet. Somebody's going to be ineligible or is going to transfer and has said so already. Something's happening, right? Somebody's leaving. I don't know if I don't want to speculate, but like I wonder about Traore, who's hurt, if there's something there. Yeah. You know, because I think he's out for the year, if I have it right. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. And he kind of came from junior college, right? And we just don't. I don't know enough about what's going on there.
That's interesting. I haven't. Man, we got to shift our focus from the Mariners to Huskies basketball.
I'm excited, and the women's team is going to be awesome. They don't really have any news right now, but I got season tickets. I'm ready to go.
Here we go.
So yeah, we'll have plenty to talk about. So we did not bad rapid fire. We went through a lot of Seattle sports there as quick as we could. We got to come back full circle though, Kev, with a bottom 5. Let's just call it today.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna do this together. Okay. We're not gonna draft or anything like that. Yeah. That would be really depressing. We're gonna pick and we're gonna try to rank 5 to 1. We'll start with the worst and then fill out the top 5, bottom 5 of the worst losses in Seattle sports history. My caveat is you cannot pick the Sonics leaving. It has to actually be a contest because I think that there's an interesting debate if that's more painful than like this Mariners loss.
Yeah.
But I just think it gets its own category.
Yeah.
So do you want me to read possibility? I think it's more fun for people if they know the possibilities and then think of how we rank them.
Really? I think it would be better to just go one by one and then just kind of like see which one goes above the other.
Well, I have more than 5 here.
Yeah, I'll defer to you.
Okay, great. It's about time. All right, here are the possibilities. Okay. Just because people are probably thinking like, oh, what are the worst losses I've experienced? And you have to add in if you think there's a Husky football game or Husky basketball game you could think of or whatever. Mm-hmm. Here's what I came up with. This one I probably won't include, but the Sonics lost to the Bullets in Game 7 in 1978. I was -1. Most people who listen to this podcast probably don't remember it. It seems pretty traumatic. You lose a Game 7 in the NBA Finals. They did win the finals the next year. Okay. Husky football against Oregon, 1994. The Kenny Wheaton interception where the Huskies were going down to take the lead. This has basically led to Oregon's dominance over UW to a certain extent since then. It like turned the Oregon whole thing around. They play it every pregame when they play the Huskies. It's a whole thing. How about Husky men's basketball against UConn in 1998, the Rip Hamilton shot?
Yep.
Sonics 1993 Game 7 Western Conference Finals against the Phoenix Suns. For people that don't know, the Suns shot 64 free throws in that game. The Sonics shot 36. There's a whole conspiracy theory there. Mariners 2001 Yankees Game 5. Arthur Rhodes gives up a home run to Bernie Williams in the bottom of the 8th. It's 1-0 Mariners. To refresh everybody, the Mariners were down 2-1 in this series. They just won the game before 14-3 after losing the first 2. So imagine it's the 8th inning. You're about to go 2-2. This is the 116 win team. and then they lose in the 9th inning after the home run in the 8th.
Well, at least it was your stud reliever.
No, it wasn't. Arthur Rhodes is like Bizzardo. They didn't go Sasaki.
Really
Sasaki was their guy. Well, that's probably true. Arthur Rhodes is really good. And really in that era, you never brought in your closer in the 7th inning. Yeah. So, right, or 8th inning. Yesterday's game, or whatever it was, Mariners Game 7 versus Toronto's on the list. Don't want to talk about it. Dikembe Mutombo holding the ball, Game 5, 1994 Sonics losing to the Nuggets in the first round. And then Super Bowl XL in 2006 against the Steelers, and Super Bowl XLVIII 2014 against the Patriots.
The only one I'd add.
Would you add the Husky Michigan championship game?
No, it wasn't painful, but I would add UW versus UConn Part 2 in 2006.
Fair.
That game went to OT.
Yeah, that one mattered to you because you loved Appleby.
Yeah, and I loved Brandon Roy too. I think a lot of this is like the look for at least college. It's like the look forward. Like they had a clear path to the Final Four because they had George Mason next, right? Like that's a winnable game. Yeah. But yeah, we can get into it.
That's a good one. Okay, let's add the second Husky UConn game. Okay, so my sister texted me. I told her I'm podcasting in 45 minutes. I will not respond to your text. She said, "What's worse?" Because these are the top two. Unless you want to argue with me, the Mariners Game 7 against Toronto that we just experienced, or Super Bowl against the Patriots.
Yeah.
Do you think they're the two worst?
I think they're the two worst. I'm in agreement with you. Recency bias, of course, right? But here's what makes those two things different. For the Seahawks, right? We had already won the Super Bowl the year before. And contrast with that, with a franchise that has never made the World Series. Both of our fathers were on this planet longer than us, and they never experienced an ALCS Game 7 with this Mariners franchise, right?
Yep.
The suck part of this all is that we don't know if it's ever going to happen again. And I went back.
Really bringing me down.
I went back since 2001, and I looked at the losers of the ALCS to figure out if any of these guys came back, right? Oakland made it in 2006, haven't made it back since.
Different case, but yeah, I hear you. Yep.
Angels made it in 2009, 2005. They haven't made it since. The teams that have bounced back from ALCS losses, like the Red Sox, right? The Yankees, the Astros
probably.
The Blue Jays, the Orioles in 2014 haven't made it back since then. So if you're saying which bucket do the Mariners belong in, do they belong in the Astros, Yankees, and Red Sox bucket, or do they belong in the Oakland A's, Angels, Orioles bucket? I think more people would put them in the other bucket.
No way. People are way too pessimistic. What happened to your optimism?
Dude, am I bringing you down, man?
No, you're not bringing me down because I disagree with you. It's not the Mariners. It's the Seahawks. The Seahawks loss is worse. This is my answer to it.
Mm-hmm.
2 parts. As much as I can blame Dan Wilson for not bringing in Munoz came in the next inning and gave up 2 rocket hits. There's a possibility, and we talked about this earlier, that Munoz comes in and he gives up hits and they lose anyway, right? There's 3 innings to play. There's a possibility Julio doesn't chase 6 balls out of the strike zone and hits a game-tying home run. All these things were still possible. In the Seahawks Super Bowl game, they had to do one thing: hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch. And I'm telling you, I don't care if it's possible he could have fumbled. No, he wouldn't have. He would have scored a touchdown. The Patriots defense was worn out. They were done for. The Seahawks had the Super Bowl in their hands. That's number 1. Number 2, it was for the Super Bowl. It wasn't for the ALCS. It was the pinnacle of pinnacles. It's a sliding doors moment. It changes the history of Seattle sports because that Super Bowl team doesn't fall apart. It is now going on a dynasty. They win 2 in a row. They don't have the issues with Russ and the Legion of Boom. They don't have all the infighting. It doesn't mean they win another one, but it has a totally different trajectory. You know, maybe in 2025, We don't have Mike McDonald in a team that's fun now. Maybe now we're experiencing the loss, but I bet we had way more wins. I think anytime a championship's on the line, it's got to be first. That's my argument.
Yeah. I just think it's such a unique thing with the Mariners, though, for them to be like, to not be able to make it that far for that.
But that's more a reflection of their shittiness over the years than it is.
I mean,
it is that
but,
moment.
But that does play a role in.
You're
like,
right.
The
That's
worst
fair.
Suck loss of all time,
Good.
right?
Totally
so
fair.
I think it's a fair debate.
Okay, so those are 1, 2. So what's the third worst?
Yeah,
out of that list. What do you think?
God, I kind of want to pull out the Super Bowl against the Steelers.
I was kind of thinking that too, because again, it's a championship.
Yeah.
The difference with that team, I remember, I don't know, you were pretty young probably, but I remember feeling, God, that team was so good on offense with Sean Alexander in that line, but it kind of felt like, ooh, can they really win the Super Bowl? Right? Versus they had just won one and they had the Legion of Boom and they were clearly dominant. It didn't feel like that was like a bad NFC year. We beat the Panthers in the NFC Championship game with Jake Delhomme. Like it wasn't, I know he went to the Super Bowl another year, but I don't know.
The Seahawks probably made it because of the 12th man. I mean, they had all those home games, right?
Yep. That was the peak of the 12th man. But also, here's why it probably is the right answer. I mean, the referee has come out and said, I blew this game. People generally, like in the NFL, if you just hear when the Seahawks played the Steelers, they brought it up on the broadcast. Like, oh, the Seahawks got screwed out of that Super Bowl. Like Bill Simmons talks about on a podcast. All kinds of people have mentioned this is one of the worst officiated
truth. Yeah.
Right. And they were pivotal plays, an offensive pass interference, a holding call. These terrible things that changed the course of that game, and that's the Super Bowl. So
they had one of the best offensive lines of all time. Like you could put I could put you behind that line. You would have scored 20 touchdowns. No,
sure, no. So I think it's number 3. I'll go with you.
Yeah.
What do you put number 4, Kev, on this list?
I
have a clear choice.
I'm kind of limited though, because a lot of these other things on this list, like I was like under the age of 10.
Yeah, so you don't have like the visceral reaction from it. So I'm going to give you number 4 then, because the only other time I can remember feeling absolute rage was when the Nuggets beat the Sonics in 1994.
Was it because the Sonics were number 1 seed? Was that
Kev? They won, if I remember right, they won 63 games that year.
That's a lot of games.
They were like
19.
I mean,
losses.
Not quite the Thunder last year, right? But they were absurdly good. They had just lost the year before to the Suns in that terrible game I talked about. They had Kemp and Payton in their prime. Jordan had retired. So the feeling was they could go win the championship. Right. And it's a crappy 5-game series in the first round. The NBA is totally rectified because they don't want people to get upset in the first round. They want money. And they lost. And Dikembe held that ball over his head on the ground. And I swear if this becomes our TikTok viral clip and people who are like my age who probably aren't on TikToks, they're going to tell you how pissed off they were when they watched that and how much rage they felt and sadness. It's not what I felt at the Super Bowl. It's not quite what I felt in that Sonics game, but it's the closest. It actually felt more rage in that one than the Super Bowl against the Steelers. It was awful. It was awful. And I think
How old were you?
I was a sophomore in high school.
Okay.
Sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
So basketball was like my life at that point, right? And I was watching. I loved Gary Payton and Kemp. Like they were. I mean, there's nothing cooler than when Peyton and Kemp were your hometown guys. Like it's, the closest I could tell you, Kev, is like if Griffey and Julio were playing at the same time. Like it was so cool.
Well, we gotta hope that like this is like the Cal Raleigh and the Julio. Like these are two mega.
But Kemp and Payton were so much cooler.
Yeah,
like they were so cool.
I see that. Yeah.
Anyway, and basketball is cooler than baseball. Sorry, it's a cooler sport. That to me, that's number 4. So number 5, I'll give you my nomination. You can tell me if you agree. I think when Rip Hamilton hit the shot against the Husky basketball team, maybe it's a bad choice. It's a Sweet 16 game.
Yeah.
So I would be open to the Arthur Rhodes home run because that absolutely crushed my soul because the Mariners won 116 games that year. But Rip Hamilton had 3 shots to win that game. The Huskies just didn't get a rebound. He's falling down. They win by 1. I don't know. It would have been the Elite 8. Again, could they have gone to the Final 4? I mean, probably. I don't know. Would they have?
the 06 game, that game, it's one of those games where I've rewind that game in my head. Like it's been almost 20 years since then, but like the last 2 minutes of that overtime, just like mistake after mistake, like Mike Jensen fouling, like just having Brandon Roy, like the best player in college basketball, right? And you were right there against UConn, like a perennial power. And even though this team wasn't a number 1 seed, like they could beat anyone in the country, and it just felt like they were meant to win, and they didn't.
I guess what's fair about what you're saying too is that you're right. That team was better. Like they had obvious NBA talent. I mean, Brandon Roy's on their team, right? They
were like a 6 seed or something. They weren't even like a 1 seed, but they were so good.
Yeah. I mean, the Huskies,
who was on the bench
in 1998 would have played North Carolina the next round, who UConn lost to, who was a 1 seed. North Carolina had Shamon Williams, Vince Carter, Anton Jameson. So maybe they end anyway in the next round, right? So it's not really.
But like Brockman was in the NBA, Bobby Jones in the NBA, Justin Denman made it to the NBA, Brandon Roy. Here's the crazy part. The leading scorer was Jamal Williams, who came off the bench and scored 27 points, over 22 from the field. Like Romar gave him the green light on offense. Like that's amazing to me.
Yeah. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to go with 2001 Mariners Yankees. Maybe I go with yours. Yeah, maybe you're right. That's a good one.
Man, this was the saddest podcast.
It was fine in the middle. It just got sad at the end.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, like, oh man,
go for it.
No, I was like, this is almost bad as like losing like an actual game you're involved with. Like, I don't know if like I guess it's just a different feeling, but as a fan, but Softy
I got over it.
Yeah. Like players move on, coaches move on, but fans, like it's always with you.
I don't know if I totally agree with that. I have losses as a coach that haunt my soul.
Yeah, and you're not even coaching right now, right? Like, and you
I'm out of it, but there's a loss my first year coaching girls in the state tournament that I think about all the time. That haunts me because we had a great team. We lost on a buzzer beater. I think we had a path. It's kind of what we just talked about the Huskies. Like that one. That's a good question. Do I think about that more or the Super Bowl loss?
Yeah, and it's not.
I don't know. You're right. No, you're right. Yeah.
Brain, right?
Yeah. Like, I think the way my personality is, I go more towards my fault and what I could have done different. You have more control, and in some ways, that's freeing and also awful. Whereas as a fan, you have no control, and so you're just full of rage because you
literally
have no
at the whims of like things that are completely out of your control. Right. And that's exactly what Dick Fan and Softy were saying. Like being a fan, like you just choose to let this dictate your life to a certain extent.
Totally. It's why people quit. It's why people quit on it, you know. And I will say this about the Mariners, to kind of like my sister-in-law went all in. She started learning about the players. She loved the team. She was so sad. There's people at work, teachers who like didn't care. And then all of a sudden they're like, I wish I hadn't cared. This hurts now. I'm like, I know. So, and I remember that with the Seahawks when they were good, right? Everybody got in on Sherm or Thomas or whoever, or they liked Russ. And that's what's cool that sports can do, that people who don't like sports never fully capture is, I don't want to get too serious, but like, honestly, it's like what it means to be human, like to experience the joy and the heartbreak and the awesomeness and the crap. And you're doing it in community and everybody being united, feeling pride and disappointment over the Mariners is awesome.
It's one of the few things left in our society where no matter your background, right, the only common thread is this team plays in your city.
That's
and
so
you
true.
Have fun going to games, right? Because we have all types of people that interact with us, listen to our podcasts, read our stuff, and it brings people together. People talk about it. It makes people feel good, makes people feel emotions. And there's fewer things like that in our society, or society chooses, or the media or whatever chooses to focus on things that kind of divide people. Sports is a great thing that brings people together. And so maybe that's the only positive we can take out of this, is that we were all sad together.
We were all
commenting Kevin's post angry.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, it really brings us together, and until you put it on TikTok, and then somebody's like, that bald loser doesn't know what he's talking about. And until next week, everybody, when we'll be back.
I love you, man.
I love you too. It's great.
I love you.
We're gonna talk next week, and we're gonna have.
This seriously helped. This
is good. This is good therapy. Who knows what we'll talk about next week? The Seahawks are on a bye. Basketball season starting. I might make Kevin talk about hockey for 45 minutes, so we'll see.
All right. See everyone next week for episode 72. Thanks for listening.